I never put much thought into the dark side of things. However, as time passed, the inexplicable incidents have slowly piled up. In case there is curiosity, I am 14 and a male. I am here to just tell you what has happened to me. I admit that all this might have been my imagination. There is no way I can prove anything. Well, maybe one event where I have a recording of something. I'll get to that later. First, I remember living in an apartment complex near a shopping center. I used to love that place because my mom and I would go to the mall for a walk almost every day. At the very least, she would get me yogurt. I mention the mall because I lived in that apartment until the age of 5. So there aren't many things I remember about it, except going to the mall and a couple of incidents at night. My apartment had a living room, a kitchen, a little room that led to a big closet, the bathroom, and the lone bedroom in our place. My mom, grandma, and I would sleep in the bedroom. From the position of my bed, I had a view of the mirror and sink at the end of the little room. I recall one night when we were all asleep, I woke up to the sound of someone talking. It sounded like a guy's voice coming from the living room. I sat up and noticed that both my mom and grandma remained asleep. I looked up at the red digital clock, 2:30 a.m. I decided to get up and slowly move towards the living room. I went towards the doorway that led to the living room and kitchen. Through the darkness of the room, I saw no one there. Everything was completely quiet. And even though nothing seemed out of the ordinary, I felt very cold. After a minute of looking around and listening, I decided to go back to bed, take a drink of the water close to my car bed, and go back to sleep. Shortly after, I moved into a townhouse one city over. I like the current place I'm living in, mostly because it's bigger and has a little patio. One day when I was 10, I was in my parents' room just lying down on their big bed while playing with my tablet. Unlike the previous place I lived in, the bed in this room was positioned sideways from the door, where it instead faced a window on the second floor. Outside the room is a small hallway, where my own room is on the other side, the bathroom is next to the left of my parents' room, and another room at the end of the hallway. To the right leads to the downstairs leading to the living room. So, there I was, just chilling in the early afternoon, when suddenly I had a side view of a head peering over to look at me from the right side of the doorway in the hallway. I just laughed and said, "I can see you." Sometimes my dad would do this by peering in and would often take a picture of me and then send it to me via text. This time around, there was no noise like the carpeted floor creaking from someone walking in the hallway. I then decided to get a small pillow and throw it into the hallway. There was silence after the pillow landed on the floor. After another minute, I got up to check if someone was there in the hallway. I then went downstairs where I found my mom and little brother sitting down while doing homework in the living room. I asked Mom if Dad was home, that I saw him in the hallway trying to peek in. She just tilted her head before shaking it. "No, he's still working." At that moment, I got a little cold like the night I went to the living room to check out the voice. I swear I saw someone look into the room I was in. I distinctly remember seeing a face with eyes hovering around the height of my dad. It was there looking in, and then disappeared to the right. "Did you go upstairs just now?" I asked. Mom just shook her head without looking up at me. My dad came home a couple of hours later. This other occasion happened at night. My parents, my little brother, and I were in their room just talking. I was sitting in the middle of the bed just laying myself on the wall. Everyone else was surrounding me. From my position, I directly had a view of the hallway. I even noticed that the door to my room was open with the lights on. As we were laughing at a video we just saw, I casually looked up. I saw a tall black figure glide from right to left. My smile disappeared as I kept staring into the hallway. My dad asked what was wrong. I just shook my head and said how I thought I saw someone in the hallway. He kept looking at the hallway as he got up. He looked back at me to confirm that I wasn't kidding. My dad went to the hallway, checked the bathroom and the other rooms, and found nothing. I told everyone that it must have been my imagination. The only thing I noticed about the gliding black figure was that it had no definable shape, and that it was very tall. At the end of 2022, we started to hear noises in the garage. It felt as though someone was just there going through the boxes. When my dad discovered rodent poop, he realized we had uninvited guests there. He set several traps near the areas where the poop was found. The traps ended up catching 3 rodents. The noise gradually went away, but there would be some noise in the late evenings. And so, my dad placed a motion detecting camera there in the garage. There is an application that would receive notifications when motion was detected. The camera would automatically start recording for like 30 seconds. He would check the recordings, but will never see or hear anything. One night, while my dad was taking a shower, I noticed a notification from the garage camera. I clicked and viewed the recording. Of course, there is no visual of anything, and I kept listening to the ambient noises that included the clock ticking near the kitchen and whatever other humming the recorder captured. However, I also thought I heard something else. Fortunately, I have the video clip that my dad saved. I will include the original audio along with the cleaned up version afterwards. Here it is. I showed it to my dad, and after hearing it several times, he concluded that it said something like, "Hey, are you coming?" You all decide if it really said what we think it said, or if it was the sounds of the rodents. Either way, it was a creepy recording of something possibly not of this world.